Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Putale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpataruvayascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam panghum langayate grim Yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatharanam Hare Krishna Shrimad Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 1, Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna Vishad Yoga. And we are going to read from text 24. Is that correct? Power is back. Did we read 23 or I think we did. Let's repeat 23 in any case. So we were at the place where Arjun says that, "O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see who is present here, who is desirous of fighting, and with whom I must contend in this great battle attempt." That was verse 22. Text 23. Yotsyamanaan aveksheham ya etetra samagataha dhartarashtrasya durbuddher yuddhe priya chikirshava. I think we did right. Translation: Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It was an open secret that Duryodhan wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans. In collaboration with his father Dhritarashtra, therefore all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhan must have been birds of the same feather. Arjun wanted to see them in the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were, but he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side. So next verse says Sanjaya Uvacha. So Sanjay continues to describe. Evam yukto rishikesho gudakeshena bharata senayor ubayor madde stapayitva rathottamam. Very significant words used in this verse by Sanjay. He calls Lord Rishikesh. We already discussed on this. Srila Prabhupada explains what Rishikesh means. Rishik means senses and Esh means Ishvar. He is the master of senses, master of everyone's senses. That's why he's called Rishikesh. Arjun is called in this verse as Gudakesh. Prabhupada explains the meaning of that, and also Bharata. And then Senayor Ubayor Madhe, between the two parties of the army, Stapayitva Rathottamam, the chariot that is being drawn by Lord Sri Krishna is here called as Rathottamam. It's the best chariot. Translation, Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharat, O descendant of Bharat. Being thus addressed by Arjun, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. So Bharat, actually here it is Sanjay is saying Bharat to Dhritarashtra, not Arjun. Arjun is called here as Gudakesh. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, Arjun is referred to as Gudakesh. Gudak means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesh. Esh is generally used in many names like Mahesh, Ganesh, Rishikesh, Suresh. But Esh means Ishwar. Ishwar means controller, master. So Gudakesh means he is the master of sleep. He has conquered sleep. Prabhupada says sleep also means ignorance, ajnan. So Arjun conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, quality, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or samadhi. So, the word that is used in Sanskrit is agyan. Also in Hindi and Marathi, that the word that is used is agyan. Agyan, but unfortunately for the lack of better word, Prabhupada uses ignorance. So don't take ignorance in a small context, but ignorance in a big, it refers to as agyan. Overall, somebody who doesn't have any gyan is called ignorant. So sleep typically is compared with darkness, and it's typically compared with ignorance, agyan. All are same. So somebody who has conquered agyan, ignorance, he's referred to as who has won over the darkness also, the darkness of ignorance, darkness of agyan. Prabhupada explains here that until and unless you remember Krishna all the time, how to remember Krishna all the time, that is explained in the 8th chapter. It's very important we understand that also. Not just by remembering his name, but we have to remember his name, form, quality and pastimes. We should know who he is. We keep chanting his name and keep doing our fulfilling our senses. That's of no use. Especially in this verse, Krishna is referred to as Rishikesh, which means he is the master of the senses. It's like we read in the very first verse, where the Rishikesh came. I don't remember now which word. Srila Prabhupada explains what Rishikesh means. Rishik means senses and Esh means Ishwar. Lord Krishna is the master of all our senses, not only his own senses, but our senses also. And it's our duty to use our senses in his service because he is the master. And that is called Krishna consciousness. So if you remember Krishna as Rishikesh, you should also use your senses in his service. Just by chanting his name Rishikesh is not enough. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, quality and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly, and this is called Krishna consciousness or samadhi. Usually samadhi word is translated in English as trance, some kind of high state where you don't remember anything about yourself or you don't remember doing anything bad. People try to go in this high state by using some kind of drugs or some kind of intoxication. But remembering Krishna, who he is and who we are and what our relationship with him, if we are in this state constantly, that is called actual samadhi, which Srila Prabhupada referred here as Krishna consciousness. This is what we try to achieve, isn't it? Krishna consciousness. It's the consciousness. As Rishikesh, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjun's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus, he did so and spoke as follows. Before there is no Sri Bhagwan-vacha. Krishna doesn't start talking here, but Sanjay is relaying the message. He's being a commentator there. In chapter 2, actually, it starts by Bhagwan-vacha. So next verse, Sanjay says, Bhishma Drona Pramukha Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pasyaitan Samavetan Kurun iti. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, Rishikesh, the Lord, said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus who are assembled here. Purport, as the super soul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjun. The use of the word Rishikesh in this connection indicates that he knew everything. And the word Partha, or the son of Kunti or Pritha, is also similarly significant in reference to Arjun. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjun that because Arjun was the son of Pritha, the sister of his own father Vasudeva, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjun. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjun to behold the Kurus? Did Arjun want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pritha. The mind of Arjun was thus predicated by the Lord in friendly joking. But what this means is Krishna knew exactly what is going on in Arjun's mind, why he wants to place the chariot there. Is he really wanted to see who he's going to fight with, or he had something else in his mind, exactly what's going on? Krishna knew exactly. So, in a joking way, like sarcastically, he says, "Behold the Kurus, see who is here to fight with you." And then Sanjay continues. He says, "Tatra pasyat sthitan partha pitrunatha pitamahan acharyan matulan bhatran putran pautran sakhimstata shvashuran suridhaschaiva senayor ubhyor api." There Arjun could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers all present there. It's very interesting for we, the modern age people. It is said here that his fathers were present on the other side. His sons were present on the other side. Actually, not the real fathers, but real sons. But in Vedic culture, even up to till like few decades ago, your father's brothers were considered as good as fathers. In Hindi, Marathi, they used to say "Bade Pitaji" or "Chote Pitaji," something like that. Similarly, your cousin brothers, your uncle's sons were considered as your own sons. In that way, it is said here that Arjun could see all these relatives on the other side. Fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles from his mother's side, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, father-in-law. Purport: on the battlefield, Arjun could see all kinds of relatives. This is very important. This is where Arjun's problem starts. That he sees relatives, his own men, his kinsmen. And why it is so important, it is explained later. He starts thinking, how can I kill my own men? And then whole entire Bhagavad-gita is based on this. On the battlefield, Arjun could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like Bhurishvara, who were his father's contemporaries, grandfather Bhishma and Somadatta, teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya, maternal uncles like Shalya and Shakuni, brothers. See, Shakuni here is called maternal uncle, although he was not directly related. He was Gandhari's brother, but Gandhari was like a sister to Kunti. Brothers like Duryodhan, sons like Lakshman, that's Duryodhan's son, friends like Ashwatthama, although Ashwatthama never considered Pandavas as friends, but remember, Pandavas were devotees of Krishna. Devotees are very good-hearted all the time. When Arjun collapses down, saying, I cannot fight, I cannot kill these guys, Prabhupada explains very nicely, it's not because he was afraid of them, but because he was a devotee, he was compassionate towards every living being. friends like Ashwatthama, well-wishers like Kritavarma, etc. He could see also the armies which contained many of his friends. Next verse, text number 27. Tan samikshya kaunteya sarvan bandhun avasthitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidan idam abravit. When the son of Kunti Arjun saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna Uvacha, next verse. Arjuna Uvacha. Dushtvaimam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupastitam Sidanti Mam Gatrani Mukham Cha Parishushati. Arjun said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Any man who has a genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in the demigods, whereas the non-devotees, however advanced he may be in material qualifications by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjun, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends, and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them, who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. This first sentence is very important. This is a verse from Shrimad Bhagavatam. Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in the demigods. Whoever is a devotee, he has all the good qualities, sadguna, what we call sadguna. But whereas the non-devotee, if you are not a devotee of Krishna, then however advanced he may be in material qualification by education and culture, externally you may find people very well behaved, very nice, very moral in their conduct, in their behavior. But if they are not devoted to the Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead, see, we have to understand, this doesn't mean you have to worship Krishna. This means you understand that there is a person who is supreme to all of us, and he is the controller. We call him Krishna, and some other might call him by other name, because Krishna has hundreds of thousands of unlimited names. But if you don't have this consciousness that there is a supreme person, he is the controller, and I am his servant, and in this relationship, I should be serving him and all his creation. If you're not in this consciousness, materially you may be very well qualified by educational qualification, let's say PhD, double PhD, etc. Or culturally you might be very sophisticated. Western people especially, they are seen by Indians as very sophisticated people, or Japanese people. But if you don't have this consciousness inside you, no matter how good person you may be seen as in the society, all you're thinking all the time is your own selfishness. Only a devotee can be completely in the mood of serving everyone. And even if he has no educational qualification, even if he's not well-mannered, well-cultured. So this is explained by Narad Muni to Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam's first canto. This is very important. Prabhupada makes this point many times. Why it is so important? We have to understand that, regularly in our society, when we see many people who are well behaved, educationally well qualified, we tend to respect them a lot, isn't it? Like great scientists. But what they are working on, they're working on exploiting this material nature again. Yeah, they have some kind of, let's cooperate together and work towards what? Sense enjoyment again. Only a godly person, only a God-conscious person can be completely free of these kind of selfish desires. That's why he is considered as Mahatma in Bhagavad-gita. Later, Krishna calls these people as Mahatma, Mahan Atma. So as such, Arjun, after seeing his kinsmen, friends and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them, who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning. His soldiers means from his side. Of course, whoever is fighting from his side, he was sympathetic about them anyway. But he felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party. And he explains so later in this chapter actually. He's not only worried about his father-like figures, his uncles, his grandfather, his grandsons, father-in-laws, his cousin brothers. He is worried about the general soldiers from the other party as well. Obviously, a great Kshatriya, he tries to avoid war at any cost. A great Kshatriya is not one who can fight and win every time. Prabhupada explains, Chanakya Pandit says in his Chanakya Niti actually, great king or a great Kshatriya is one who tries to avoid war. He's the greatest king actually. So being compassionate and being very good friend of Krishna, which means he is a devotee of Krishna, which means he's God conscious, he's feeling compassionate towards everyone. Why? I have to kill all these people for what? Foreseeing their imminent death. He was compassionate about the soldiers on the other party also, foreseeing their imminent death. And so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjun, had come to fight with him. Almost everyone. This was the biggest fight in the entire Bharatvarsha. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjun. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjun's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but that he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptoms in Arjun were not due to weakness, but to his soft-heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. So Prabhupada very nicely explains that usually when we see something very scary in front of us, we start breathing fast and we start sweating and mouth starts drying up and we start shivering and shaking. That is exactly what is happening to Arjun, but not because he was afraid or not because he was weak. It was because of the compassion towards the other party, because that's the great characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. It is said therefore, this is verse from fifth canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam. It is said therefore, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunai tatra samasate sura. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dhavato bahi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the material plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. This is from the fifth canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam. But as I was saying, there is a similar verse in the first canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, where Narad Muni is instructing Vyasadeva about writing Shrimad Bhagavatam. Next he continues, Arjun continues saying, Vepatuscha sharire me ro maharshascha jayate gandivam shtamsate hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate. Paridahyate means burning. Translation: my whole body is trembling and my hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiv is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. Prabhupada says, there are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standing of the hair on end. Such phenomena occurs either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. I think we were discussing a few days ago. A devotee of Krishna, a spiritual person, is never afraid of anything. The first quality of a godly person, a God-conscious person, is abhay. So Prabhupada says, these symptoms listed here, body is trembling, hair is standing on the end, Gandiv is slipping, my skin is burning. It can happen in two situations. One is you're ecstatic in spiritual realization, or you're afraid of something. You're really scared of something. Even a dog barks, sometimes your hair stands on your hand, actually, isn't it? There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjun's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. There is no spiritual realization here. Arjun is afraid, but Arjun is not afraid to fight. Arjun is afraid that I have to kill everyone here, especially my own men. And this is all related to body. That's what Prabhupada brings the point after all this Arjun's complaining. Okay, can you hear me on Google Meet? Hari Bol? Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, Guruji, we can hear you.
Lost the power again. So I was just checking if Wi-Fi is still on. So Prabhupada explains, see, this is very important to understand. Arjun is slowly, he will complain, he will give so many references from Shastra also to justify his arguments. But one thing we have to understand is Arjun is now showing the symptoms of bodily conception of life. His body, all the relatives, those are related to his body, and he's afraid of losing them. He is afraid of losing them. Everything about him. He says so many things like this. How can I kill my own men? How will I be happy? If I kill them for this kingdom, how can I enjoy this kingdom? It's all about me, my body, me, my body. And exactly we are in that consciousness. And that's why we also suffer. And in order to explain this bodily conception of life and how to get out of this bodily conception of life, the entire Bhagavad-gita is spoken. It has nothing to do with why Arjun is fighting. Most people think Bhagavad-gita is to decide whether Arjun should fight or not. No, that's not the question. Arjun is thinking about giving up fighting because he is attached to his own body, just like we all are. And when we are attached to our own body, we suffer in this material world. And that's what spirituality means, to get out of this bodily conception of life. That's why Bhagavad-gita is for us also. It's not only for Arjun. This link we have to make. Otherwise, there is no point in reading Bhagavad-gita. So this is the first time Prabhupada explains why he was afraid, why he was showing all the symptoms of a person who is very scared of something. His fear was a material fear. It has nothing to do with spirituality. Spiritually, when someone who is very ecstatic, he also shows such symptoms, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to show. But that's not the case here. Arjun was materially afraid of something. What was that? Losing his own man. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiv was slipping from his hands. And because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to material conception of life. There we go. The last sentence in this purport, Prabhupada says, all these are due to material conception of life. Eventually, we have to understand that this body is not me. So if it is trembling, if it's sweating, it's burning, how does it matter? That can only happen when something is bothering us. It's very interesting. And I'm not sure whether you guys have heard this famous meditation technique invented by Lord Buddha himself. It's called Vipassana. If you have heard of this. I went to 10 days Vipassana course once when I was in college. In the entire 10 days, they teach you how to see your own body, what's happening in your body, where the burning sensation are, where there is somewhere on your body there is itching sensation, somewhere there is some other sensation, and without reacting to that sensation, all you have to do is observe your body. And then after 3, 4, 5 days, they slowly explain you how these sensations are related to your desires and your behavior. When you're angry, how your skin behaves, how you feel burning sensation. When you're happy, you're thinking very good about someone, you're feeling like very philanthropic, very helping others, serving others. Then how your body feels like. And you can literally feel the difference. So Prabhupada is trying to say here that all these symptoms, trembling of the body, hair standing on the end, Gandiv is slipping from the hand, means his hands were becoming like out of control, weak. Skin is burning. All these are due to material conception of life. We will slowly understand what exactly this means, material conception of life. If you desire, if you're and you are attached to anything material in this material world, it is called material conception of life. Your life is surrounded by that particular attachment. Some people are attached to money, fame, and some people are attached to their own kids, parents. This is all going to cause problem because it's all material. So long you're attached to anything like this, body is going to show symptoms of happiness and suffering. And you have to suffer in this material world. There is no such thing as only happiness. In fact, this material world is designed for those who are in material conception of life. They have to suffer here. And those who get out of this material conception of life, that I am not this body, I am eternal soul, related to the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead, we read in the introduction part. And our job, our karma, our dharma is called eternal dharma, and that is serving the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we engage ourselves again in that relationship, then we will not suffer. And these symptoms you see at that time also, but they are because of your spiritual realization, not because of something material attachment. So Arjun here slowly showing his attachment towards his body. It's called material conception of life, or sometimes Prabhupada refers to this as bodily conception of life. Just like we all are like that. And this is what we have to understand. This is what we have to get out of by understanding, by learning Bhagavad-gita. That is the main purpose of Bhagavad-gita. Hmm? 5:15. Let's read one more verse. Na cha shaknomi avasthatum brahmativa chame manaha nimittani cha pasyami viparitani keshava. Viparitani, this is a very important word. Viparitani. Viparit. In Hindi, Marathi, and I think in any language that is derived from Sanskrit, Viparit means something wrong is going to happen. Something opposite is going to happen. So Arjun said, I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I foresee only evil. O killer of Keshi demon. Lord Sri Krishna is referred here in this verse as Keshava. Keshava means who killed Keshi demon. Prabhupada explains here, we'll read purport. Due to his impatience, Arjun was unable to stay on the battlefield and he was forgetting himself on account of the weakness of his mind. In such situation, we also feel the sense of awakeness. We forget things, don't remember things, because our entire consciousness is taken over by this imminent danger. So we forget everything. Arjun's condition is like that. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in a bewildering condition of existence. So this is the reason. Exactly, this is what happens with us also. Excessive attachment for material things. Excessive attachment. An attachment is understandable. A desire comes in your mind and goes away. You feel like eating something, you feel like buying something. But when it becomes attachment, then it is particularly that particular thing in Shastra, it is referred to as kama. It doesn't become calm unless it stays with you, attaches with you. I have to have this particular ice cream. I have to have this particular bag. That's when it becomes kama or kama vasana. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in bewildering condition of existence. This is explained in second chapter, verse 62 and 63, very nicely explained. At that time, we will go in deep of why this happens. It's very interesting. When we think about some material thing again and again and again and again and again, we become attached to that. I have to have this. And when we don't get it, we become angry. And depending on our attachment, the anger takes us into this kind of bewildering condition of life. When people are so much attached to something materially, like their property or their house or their car or their wife or kids or something like that. When they can't control that, or if it gets destroyed, they become so angry, they become so grief-stricken, they forget who they are. Their state of mind completely becomes topsy-turvy. We have seen this, isn't it? This is exactly what is happening with Arjun. How can I kill my own men? How can I kill my own spiritual master, Guru? What am I going to do with all this Aishwarya after killing all my relatives? This is what he is thinking. Excessive attachment for material things. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam dvitiya aviniveshitaha. This is a beautiful verse from 11th canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam. This is referred by Srila Prabhupada so many times. Many purports in Bhagavad-gita itself, this entire shloka is referred. Here only 2 words are given. Bhayam dvitiya aviniveshitaha. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. It's called bhayam. Bhayam means bhai. Everyone is afraid of something. What is that? Everyone is afraid in this material world of losing something. What do we mean by afraid? Afraid of what? Why do we become afraid of a snake or a tiger? We are always afraid of losing something because we know this is temporary. This body is temporary, these relationships are temporary, our relatives are temporary, our house, our money, everything is temporary, and we know it. That's why we are afraid of losing it. This is what is called, only 2 words are mentioned here. I hope you have Bhagavad-gita with you. Bhayam dvitiya aviniveshitaha. Very important. Bhaya means bhai. Dvitiya means secondary. Pratham means primary. Dvitiya means secondary. And avinivesh means investing in something. Nivesh, in India also they use this word nivesh. You invest in stock market. Stock market means nivesh karna. So persons, people, almost every one of us, who are invested in secondary things, which has no importance, which is temporary, it's going to end anyway in one day, it's going to finish anyway. But we are invested our time, our money, our energy, everything into that. So it is bound to bring you unhappiness. It is bound to bring you, first thing it brings you is bhaya. Bhaya, chinta, it's anxiety, it's kind of bhaya only. And if not, it brings you shoka, lamentation. Either bhaya, or chinta or shok. Whichever is gone, we keep lamenting about that. Whichever is about to go, we keep worrying about that. Why this happens? We are so much invested in the secondary things, dvitiya. We forget primary thing. That's our relationship with the Supreme Lord. And it is definitely going to happen. And this is what happens. Every day we see this, isn't it? Every day we see this. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Now the real Bhagavad-gita has started. This is philosophically we have to understand everything now onwards. Up to here, setting the background of Bhagavad-gita is done. Arjun asks Krishna to take his chariot between the 2 armies. Now he started explaining his condition, and we have to relate our condition to Arjun. Then we will understand what Krishna is going to instruct him. Otherwise, we will just read Bhagavad-gita and will not understand anything. We have to put ourselves into Arjun's shoes. Bhayam dvitiya aviniveshataha. Arjun envisioned only unhappiness in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The word nimitta is significant in this verse. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in this supreme self. Arjuna is supposed to show disregard for self-interest by submission to the will of Krishna, who is everyone's real self-interest. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. The conditioned soul forgets this, means we. Arjuna has forgotten. He was supposed to do exactly what Krishna tells him to do. But now he's started thinking about his own self. How can I kill my relatives? How can I kill my brother? How can I kill my guru? And in later verses, you will see, in order to hide this self-interest, he kind of tries to extend his sense gratification towards society. How can I kill everyone in this society? If I kill everyone in this battlefield, then the women in the society, who will protect them? They will be unprotected. And from such unprotected women, the Kul Dharma, Kulakshaya, Kulastri, they will all get polluted, and they will produce Varna Sankar population. He's trying to explain that I'm worrying about the society. But whose society? My society again. It's all about me, my self-interest. Everyone is doing exactly the same. And that's when they suffer, Prabhupada says here. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers in material pain. Forgets what? That they are the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and they're supposed to serve Krishna. They're supposed to serve in Krishna's plan, not his own plan. So long they're serving their own plan or their extended senses like family, society, nation, it's all extended sense gratification. They are going to suffer in material pains. Arjun thought that his victory in the battle would only be cause of lamentation for him. Even if he wins, he's not going to gain anything. This is what it means by frustrated. We'll stop here. He specifically says so in the next verse. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Very interesting. Prabhupada explains this is exactly what we all are doing here. We don't want our relatives because they are taking share in my possessions. But at the same time, we want our relatives because unless we show what I have to them and they get jealous, there is no happiness. Arjuna is saying, if I kill all these people, all these my kinsmen or my relatives, and gain this victory, this kingdom, who am I going to share with? Who am I going to show it to? So here onwards, Arjun puts many arguments, and we have to remember all these arguments because Krishna in next chapter, he answers each of these arguments separately, step by step, one by one. So today we will stop here. It's 5:28. Any discussions, any questions, concerns, realizations? सुना जरा पानी घे का पहला हाथ लगे थंड नको मा Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
How to come out of the attachment?
When we are attached to something in this material world, the first thing that happens is we forget love. Everything, all the anarthas in our heart, in our mind, are exactly opposite of love. And the modern conception of love, when you love something, you need anything for that person, for that thing. From today's society, actually. This is the process given in Bhagavad-gita. And in order to love something, we have to understand that there is a supreme controller, there is a supreme being that is controlling everything. Everything belongs to him, nothing belongs to me, and nothing is in my control also. Now, which is true actually. Many people from time immemorial, they have tried to gain their ownership on this material world, but they have failed to do so. And when they have tried to control this material world and they have failed to do so. So what makes us think that I can own something and I can control something? So this is the process of our happiness in this material world. I need to own something, I need to be the proprietor of something, and then I need to control that thing, and then I become enjoyer of that thing. And we have to give up this mentality because it is never going to happen. A wise person learns from history. It has never happened in the history of Brahmanda, not only this history of this earth. So what makes us think that it is going to happen? Why am I trying to be in control? Why am I trying to own, become proprietor of something? And this is the main point of Bhagavad-gita. From chapter 7, Krishna tells repeatedly that I am the controller of everything. I am the originator of everything. I am the creator of everything. We don't think in that way, and that's why we get entangled. So some people are trying to make a small pencil their own, and some people are trying to make entire nation their own. It's the same mentality. And that's why we suffer. So first and foremost thing, and whoever is spiritual person, you might have seen, it's what we call sadhu, we see that he owns nothing. He has nothing to control in this material world. That's why he's happy, isn't it? So this desire to, Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad-gita many times, he uses the word lord it over. Desire to lord it over the material world. Means to become Swami, lord of material things. I am the owner of this house. I am the owner of this wife. I am the owner of this husband. I am the owner of these kids. I am the owner of this car. Everybody is trying to become owner, lord it over. Whatever he sees, he wants to own it. And that is the reason of our suffering. And love is exactly opposite of this. You should be able to give everything for the person who you love. And that's why this material conception of love never works. Because it's not pure. It's going to work only when we understand that everything belongs to Krishna, everything belongs to the Creator, and I'm not supposed to exploit this material nature. I'm not supposed to use it for my own sense gratification. I'm supposed to use everything I see in serving Krishna because it belongs to him. So if we develop this mentality, then all anarthas from our heart will go away. And this is the process of devotional service. And this process is explained in Shrimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad-gita is to develop faith in this process. Shraddha. Most of us don't have even Shraddha. Faith in Krishna, faith in this process. And when you develop faith in this process, how this process works is very nicely explained in Shrimad Bhagavatam. It is explained in Bhagavad-gita also, but Bhagavatam explains very nicely, considering our situation today in Kali Yuga. We can do this anartha nivritti by simply chanting the transcendental names of Lord Krishna. If we can get this transcendental chanting of transcendental, what Prabhupada calls sound vibrations, from a pure devotee, it will purify us. Because it's very difficult in Kali Yuga actually. We are so bombarded with this dvitiya avinivesh. We just read bhayam dvitiya avinivesh. Secondary things. We are invested in secondary things, and everything surrounding us is kind of pushing us to like secondary things. There is fashion malls, and there is hoardings on the highway, and there's advertisement on social media. Everything is trying to attract us. This is what is important. This is what is important. This is what is important. So what can we do in this situation? No. First of all, we have to have enough faith in this process. And that faith comes from understanding things as they are, as it is, or by going through this suffering ourselves and eventually come to understanding that there is no way I can fix this. I have to surrender to Krishna. Either way, you come to this platform of surrendering to Krishna, and then there is a process. Once you have developed this faith, there is a process. That process is called sadhu sangha. And in that sadhu sangha, in the association of godly persons, you do bhajan kriya, serving Krishna and serving everything. And this process of serving Krishna and serving entire creation of Krishna in the association of sadhus is called bhajan kriya, and that leads to anartha nivritti, getting out of all the anarthas from your heart. All the selfishness, kama, krodha, dvesh, ninda, everything goes away, and pure love gets established in your heart. Yeah, it is very difficult. Sometimes it seems very difficult, but the process is also very simple in Kali Yuga. All you have to do is you have to engage yourself wholeheartedly. Your tongue, your mind, your heart, yourself, Atma, everything in Sneha Samyukta Harinam Sankirtan, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with lot of love, and cry for the compassion. Then it will happen. First of all, we have to develop faith in this process. Most people don't have faith in this process. That's the problem. So why repeatedly, like we are in the first chapter of Bhagavad-gita, and so far, including, we read introduction, you might not be there, you can go back and hear the introduction series of 5 lectures. You will understand that repeatedly Prabhupada is explaining that in this material world you are suffering. Most people don't understand this. And there is no solution to this suffering. No matter how much plans you make, now how much science you can use, however much plans you can make based on this science, you cannot even elevate yourself in this suffering actually. The only way is to get out of here. Most people don't understand it. Get out of here completely, not change body and come back here again. Then you will be suffering again. Yeah, in the previous ages, like Dwapar, Treta, Yuga, it was very, very easy to convince people that you guys are suffering here. In Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to convince people that you are suffering here, because the ahankar is always higher in foolish people. They don't think that they are suffering. No, I can make some plans and fix everything. Like scientists are continuously trying to fix everything that God has created. Isn't it? So this entire Bhagavad-gita, Shrimad Bhagavatam, is to tell people that yes, you are indeed suffering. Wake up. There is no way. This is not negativity also. This is to bringing people to reality. And then there is a solution. Bhagavad-gita gives a solution. It doesn't even, it does not just, tries to tell you that you are suffering. It gives a solution to that. Solution is to surrender to Krishna completely. Completely. And that is called love. Now, famous Acharya Rupa Goswami calls it love. Eventually in Bhagavad-gita, I think 5th chapter, Krishna says, someone who understands that I am the only enjoyer, someone who understands that I am the only controller, his mind will always be in peace. Shantim richati. And if you don't have peace, how can you be happy? And everyone wants to be happy. There is no place in spiritual literatures or in any kind of spirituality actually demands you to give up your happiness. That's the very bad, it's the biggest misconception. You have to come on a spiritual path to search for happiness only. It's just you have to understand what is real happiness. So that real happiness is explained in Bhagavad-gita. Slowly we will learn that, we'll try to understand that, and we'll try to inculcate that in our day-to-day practical living. Bhagavad-gita is very practical. It's not something to worship and keep in your puja ghar, deity room. No. So yeah, it may be difficult in the beginning it may be very difficult to understand what is this going on, this is a big problem, how to get out of this. Don't get confused. It will all be revealed very nicely in Bhagavad-gita. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpataro bhayascha kripa sindhobhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnav Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.